Could you describe me Bulawayo while you were growing? Bulawayo, which you remember from your childhood?
I think we had a very privileged upbringing in Bulawayo. We had 4 African employees in our house. That's how I grew up. I had a nanny. When I think of it now, it's really weird to me because I would get up in the morning. No, let's rephrase. I would wake up in the morning and my nanny would come upstairs with a tray and she would serve me breakfast in bed. Not only me and my sister, we shared a room. And we would have breakfast in bed. Our school uniforms would be placed at the end of our beds. We just didn't have to think of anything. We were totally, utterly cared for.
Could you please tell me what were the political views in your home and also your personal, that time many years ago in Africa?
Well, the best thing in the world was my nanny. What would I do without my nanny? It so happens that my nanny, whose name was Sarah had a child the same year that I was born. His name was Clement, and I'm sorry to say it, but it was the way things were. When African children were born, they stayed with their mothers a very short time, and then they were sent back to their ancestral homes. Their homes which were out in the, I don't know how you translate Bundu, outlying areas, let's say outlying areas, and the children were sent to the grandparents to be raised in an African village. And then every weekend or every second weekend, my nanny would go and visit her children. But the main thing is that she would be sending money for their upkeep and education. And I cannot recall my parents ever discriminating between blacks and whites. But of course it existed. I think because in later years my father dealt very specifically with the African trade, and he learned to speak many of the African languages. For instance, Sindebele was the language spoken in Bulawayo. My father would speak Sindebele. He had a wonderful driver who was really his right-hand man. Certainly I remember him coming over to our house and he would sit with us in our lounge. Or I don't ever remember feeling that there was such a big difference. But I was young. And I did know that Africans lived in townships and they weren't my neighbors. I do not recall anywhere in Bulawayo where there would be a park bench that said only white people could sit on it. It may have been, I don't know, but I don't ever remember seeing anything like that. Whereas one of the first things that I recall seeing when I came to live in South Africa was exactly that. They had benches there that said whites only and non-whites only. It meant white people couldn't sit on non-white benches and non-whites couldn't sit on white benches. The same went for public transport. But I never felt it in Rhodesia, and certainly my parents I never ever heard a derogatory word said about black people. So I was brought up, I would say, in a very open home about so many things, very luckily. No, I never heard anything like that. No, I never got any political input from my parents that I can recall. Maybe my brothers, because they were a bit older, might say something different, but I don't ever remember having a political discussion or even thinking black and white. The only thing I know is that my nanny made the most wonderful food. It was called sadza. Sadza was like a porridge that she would make meat and gravy to go with this, and I used to go and sit with her in what was known as a kaya, which is the housing that my parents provided for her on our property, and I would go and sit in her room, and I would squat on the floor because that's how she would be sitting, and I would take the sadza, this thick porridge in my hand, and you mold it with your hand like this and make it into a bowl, and then you dip it in the gravy and you eat it, and there can be nothing more delicious in the world than sadza, which is a maize porridge. Sadza, gravy, and meat. Yes, that's wonderful. I love it. And I don't know why we didn't eat it, because it was great food, but I had to go to the kaya to eat that kind of food. So, no, just didn't feel anything between black and white people, but I'm sure it existed. It existed. I just personally didn't feel it. And really only learned about segregation when I came to live in Johannesburg, as I said, when I was just before I turned 20. And that was the first time I knew that there was a very big difference, and that it was a law that white people could not live with black people could not live with white people in a next door neighbor kind of thing. Because obviously your servants that you employed, albeit they were paid servants, although paid a dreadful sum of money, they could stay in your house, but they would need special permission to be in the house. And they were not allowed to have African visitors to the house. Only the people who were registered to you, and I'm talking about South Africa now, could be in your house. Weird. But that's how apartheid really was there.